What do you got for me?
What's wrong with you people?
I got nothing for you.
What's wrong?
You're not David. How do y'all feel this morning? I feel what? That's how I feel. Well, that was enough for me. We could have had the benediction right there. That was so good.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome to The Reformatory, the podcast for the local church and by the local church. And we are your local churchmen. My name is Josh, and I'm here, as always, with Captain Jack. Captain, how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing well, sir. Man,
Good.
My beard's getting really long, so it's
I know.
almost like
Yeah, it's looking good, man. It's looking good.
Blackjack up in here, dude.
Yeah,
Just
that's
about
right.
ready to go pirating.
Captain Blackbeard. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's looking good. What are you sipping on, man? What is that? Is that some?
This is
what is that?
some cherry limeade kombucha.
Oh, kombucha.
Cherry
Dude, you're a
limeade,
kombucha
yeah.
guy? Man.
Dude, I love it. I love it.
I tried kombucha. Like, I've tried multiple times. I've done due diligence to try to like it. It's just so bad. And I know that I probably just lost a whole bunch of cred, a whole bunch of street cred with a whole bunch of people, especially like it seems like the homeschool, like the reformed, like homestead community. You know, they're like, oh, the kombucha, like, you know, I got these. What do they call them? Like scobies or Scooby snacks. I don't know. Like I got them fermenting in the basement. I got like 4 of them in there, and you know they look like little aliens.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and dude, kombucha is just it's not good, and I feel like this is what I'm gonna say. I feel like people don't actually like kombucha. They're just told that they should. They're told that they should like it. So they like grimace through it. It's kind of the same with like sparkling water. It's like this just puts bubbles in my stomach, and it doesn't hydrate me. I don't know, dude. I'm choosing all the violence today. That's just that's just where I'm at.
You want the smoke today, Josh. You want that smoke. But
I do.
hey, to each their own, sir. I like kombucha.
I mean, it is true.
I drink it. I'm not here to be like the CrossFitter kombucha guy, you know, that tries to get everybody to drink kombucha, but it's like, I like it. I like the taste of it.
Yeah.
Nope. If somebody else doesn't, okay, that's fine. I'm not here to convert you. So
Yeah. I don't know, man. This is where I'm at. That's just me. I don't know what else to say on it. Jack, dude, it's been an eventful week. I think both of us have had a long, eventful week. I just got off of a short vacation, which I was very thankful to have. My wife and I went up to Bellingham, Washington. All right, way up north. Had a good time. Tried some good food. I tried some. Okay, so speaking of like kombucha, like weird drinks, right? Mead. I tried mead for the first time. All right,
dude, Josh, literally, you went off.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like you went off on a Marco to me of just like, dude, I'm on this. This is my new drink now.
I'm 100% on.
I can't do anything else.
Yeah,
I'm fully invested in this drink now.
Well, and dude,
like,
here's the thing. Like, I don't know if it's. I think it has something to do with the Norwegian in me, right? So
yeah,
I think I'm predisposed to like it, but I also found out, you know how easy it is to make your own, right? And I realized that like I understand the irony right now. Okay, it's not lost on me because everyone here is like, you just got done crapping all over the people that make their own kombucha, and now you're all like, oh, you know what would be fun to make some mead. It's not the same. Mead is delicious and wonderfully honey sweet. Kombucha tastes like It tastes like, okay, you know what kombucha tastes like? It tastes like you put a 5-gallon bucket of rainwater outside for 3 days, let it heat up, and then put some like blackberry syrup in it, and then chilled it. That's what kombucha tastes like. Mead tastes like it was literally handed down to me by the Valkyries themselves. It's so good. It's so good. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. It's delicious. It's so deliciously sweet. Jack.
Hey, like I said,
Hey,
to each
yeah.
their own.
It's true.
I ain't mad
That's
about
fair.
it. So,
All right. Well, we're gonna stop bloviating on that, Jack. Before we start talking about local church stuff, my man, why don't you give us the reformatory cigar of the week? What do you got for us?
yes, this cigar, August is for apostates, as per usual,
is.
this month. And in our second line of cigars that we will review for apostate cigars, we are going with the Feathered
This is actually
Serpent.
third. This is third now. Because we did
third
the
cigar?
This is the third one because I did the first one. Remember?
Okay.
It was the
Maybe
ep that you got back.
Okay.
Yeah, I did the first one, then you did the second one. This is actually our third one now.
Oh, that's right. It's because
Yeah.
that Tuesday
It was the Tuesday, and
Yeah.
we did the ep where I did the cigar review. So that's probably why you don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look
Okay.
at throwing it off.
My bad. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, third
Yeah.
in the order. This is the Feathered Serpent. It is a 6.5 by 46 Corona Gorda. It is a Corojo Candela, Dominican Republic of the Dominican Republic. Binder is San Andreas, Mexican wrapper. Filler is also Dominican Republic. So we've been doing kind of like these little history lessons of what's been going on as far as why like the cigar is named this. This one kind of threw me because the Feathered Serpent, it is named after the Quetzalcoatl, or basically in Wakanda forever. The Feathered Serpent god dude, which was Namor or Namor, if you will. He
Yes,
kind of
Namor.
like Spanished, Spanished his name up a little bit there. But Kukulkan, so to say, is the god of antiquity. This unique cigar features a special candela wrapper, obviously once said. Once common in the American cigar market, it is a perfect change of pace, smoke that just might become your favorite. So, candela wrappers, they are way more grassy and hay flavored.
Yeah.
This is not everybody's bag, right?
Yeah.
So most of the cigars that we usually have reviewed are going to be more of your woodsy, wood kind of smoky or chocolatey kind of flavors, as far as your Maduros, your Connecticut's, toasty, especially Connecticut's are going to be more toastier, more lighter and stuff like that. But Candelas are like very much like grassier, hay, alfalfa, kind of that vibe going for you. I appreciate those flavors because I grew up in Central Washington. Josh knows this, but in kind of like the lower Central Washington area, that's where a lot of farmers will grow alfalfa and hay and all those kind of more grassier kind of agriculture products to ship over to Japan to basically have those cows be eating that stuff, so you can get that Wagyu going. So, so yeah, I appreciate those flavors because I grew up with those smells, and surprisingly, I was like one out of many kids that was not allergic to those smells growing up. Everybody else, it felt like every time harvest season or even like during the summer, like their allergies would be off the hook. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. But this is a good cigar. Like I said, those flavors come out in this, but you can also, because I think you smoked this recently as well too, so you can kind of give me another kind of opinion about this. But I thought the burn rate on mine was pretty doggone good. I didn't have any problems with the draw as well either. And like I said, that consistent hay alfalfa kind of flavor. There's some of that. I think the San Andreas, that Mexican, just the binder kind of helps out. So it's not just complete, grass bomb.
Right.
It's actually kind of balances that out as well too. So
Yeah.
I really like this cigar. It's something different. It's something that people don't often smoke all the time. Usually when people smoke candelas, it's for St. Patrick's Day, and that's about it. So yeah, I really like the cigar. I appreciate when a cigar line launches a candela version to try and accommodate for some of their Maduro and Corojo wrappers and everything like that. But yeah, I really like the cigar a lot. So
Well, there it is. All right. Well, The Winged Serpent by Apostate Cigars. August is for apostates, right? So that's what we're doing for this month. That is the Reformatory Cigar of the Week. And my friends, you know what to do. Go and smoke to the glory of God. All right, Jack. So, dude, before we start talking today, man, I wanted to read a really cool message that we got from a listener. This is from Trenton, this was in regards to an ep that we did a couple weeks ago. I think it was actually before you went on break. Actually, quite a while ago, when we did that ep on kind of starting to think about creating men's ministries and things like that, right? Trent gave me permission to read this, so I wanted to share this with our listeners, just because this is just really encouraging for me. Like, this message came across, and it was just really, really encouraging, because any time I hear that this podcast has created any type of encouragement for somebody, or gave someone an idea for something that then was successful, dude, it makes it all worth it. That's really, really cool, right? So this is what Trenton says. He says, gents, just wanted to follow up on your men's ministry podcast. He said, I had reached out to you guys on Twitter about possibly doing an ep on men's ministry stuff, and y'all kindly delivered. Says, long story short, we had our first men's hangout last Friday, and it went really well. Said he had at least 25 dudes show up. Bro, he had 25 dudes show up. That is amazing. Not normal. Yeah. That is really cool. He says had at least 25 dudes showed up. Best of all, it was a wide age range. Guys from early 20s all the way up to some old timers and everything in between. Says it was a blessing to see all those guys come out and actually enjoy hanging with brothers that they didn't know very well. He says the ep gave me courage/license to speak up and say, what if we did a men's hangout? He says, God used you guys in this, and I'm praying he is going to use this group to grow fellowship and discipleship at our church. Thank you. Dude, man, Jack, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, man, what an encouraging message. And, dude, Trenton, hats off to you, man. Sometimes, it's hard stepping out in those things, right? I think especially men's ministry, because men's ministry is hard, because you have, I think you have the extremes where you have the stuff that you see online and the massive churches and all these men's conferences where they're driving over trucks with semis and they've
tanks.
got the tanks, and they've got a UFC octagon, and you're just what is even going on here, right? Or you have on the other side of that spectrum and I'll use air quotes for those that aren't watching on YouTube, the men's ministries that are basically, we're just going to sit around and basically just confess sin and then go home. And neither one's very, neither one in and of themselves is very is very beneficial, right? So I think those are the extremes that we see. I think you see just a lack of, I don't know if it's desire or just a lack of perhaps understanding of how to foster community, like real community within the local church amongst the men. And man, it's a hard thing to do, and I think it takes a certain type of guy, a certain type of courage to reach out and be like, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's just start small. Let's get together. Let's hang out. Let's eat some food. Let's see what happens. And man, hats off to Trenton, man. I'm super, super excited that you stepped out in that. And it worked, you know? Like I don't know about you, Jack, but when I hear stuff like that, it's massively encouraging.
Yeah, especially for like 25 guys to show up.
Dude, I know. Man,
listen,
that's crazy.
We've been doing a couple different men's Wednesday night hangouts where you just bring your own meat, you bring your own stuff, you grill it. There's a guy who's a deacon in our church, his like grill master extraordinaire. He grills it. He grills some more stuff as well too. We play yard games. You can talk, you can hang out, you can do whatever. There's no like barring, hey, you gotta, you're all forced to do this or something like that. But, and I mean, those are times where it's like really, I think you get to know people better because it's just, the bar is low. The bar is low. And when you put it that way, you're going to get more vulnerability sometimes out of people because there are guys that just need to vent.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have a sounding board sometimes, maybe, of just like, am I crazy for thinking that my life is just turned upside down or I'm going through some stuff right now?
Right.
So, but yeah, I think that the Wednesday night, we have one coming up this Wednesday. Those are really good for just really basic foundational fellowship with men in your church to understand how they can support you and lift up you in times of just either really, harsh burdens, calamity, whatever, or if it's just like smooth sailing and you can celebrate with each other on stuff. So yeah, I think that for you to have 25 guys, like we're and I don't know the size of Trenton's church, but I mean that's a huge success. And if you keep doing that, and if you keep like replicating that, like people are going to see that and hopefully see the fruit of you guys fellowshipping together and kind of just being there for one another. That's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah,
as men, you need to know that you're not out there alone. Yeah, no, 100%, man. Yeah, I think that's something that's often overlooked. And look, this isn't just men's ministry, right? This is pretty much any type of discipleship ministry, whether it's men's, women's, youth, right? Whatever it is. I think one of the main things that's often overlooked when you're like, say, okay, you have a goal of wanting a successful and thriving discipleship ministry, right? Say it's men, say it's women's, youth, whatever it is, right? Often, so much focus gets put on the end goal and then a bunch of programmatic things that you can do to get there. And one of the first and primary things that's often forgotten is the relational aspect of it, right? And I think especially, Jack, especially post-pandemic, I think we have people that are starving, whether they'll admit it or not, right? That are starving for community and starving for relational quality, right? And just basic human relationships, basic human interaction, right? And I think you see the success when you see the success in those ministries when you place a great value on that. It doesn't mean that you don't make it Christian, right? And again, that's not what we're advocating for. I think some people hear this and they're like, well, you're just basically creating a social club in church. It's like, no, we're not doing that. like the reason we're getting together is it has intention,
right? There is
Yeah.
great intentionality behind it, right? But you can't just go straight to the goal, which is intensive discipleship, right? Getting like being a part of each other's lives. You can't just jump to that without any groundwork. And I think that's the mistake that a lot of ministries make in church, is they just get a bunch of people together and say, okay, now we're going to be vulnerable. Now we're going to be part of each other's lives. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into some really deep conversations, and we're going to become really close, right? And that's just not how it works, right? I mean, you might have some people that have the ability to do that, but the vast majority of folks in your church, it's not going to work that way, right? So, having that understanding, and then realizing, like, look, okay, if my goal is, like, let's put it on a personal level, right? Let's just take a personal friendship between two guys. Let's take me and you, right? If we started our relationship saying, okay, we're just going to be best friends. Tell me everything about your life. Tell me the things you struggle with. Tell me your deepest sins. And through that process, we're going to become really close, and then we'll end up doing a podcast together, right? It's it just doesn't work. It wouldn't work,
No.
right? But if you think about how you became friends with people, especially the people that are closest to you, like, you're going to see that a lot of groundwork was laid, right? The rules don't change when it comes to discipleship ministry, right? Whether it's, again, this isn't just men's ministry. This is just discipleship ministry in general. You got to be willing to lay the groundwork in creating an environment to where that relational aspect can thrive, and it takes time. It takes time to do that, right? It doesn't mean that you don't march toward the goal, but you can't pretend like the goal is something that you can just, crack open the door and we're here. It's like, we gotta walk a ways together first before I'm gonna be comfortable with, putting my guard down and letting you in on, the things that I struggle with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's you just don't you just don't walk into the church one day and just go up to some dudes and say, "Hey, you're going to be like my friend now,"
That's like kindergarten. That's like,
so,
do you want to be my friend?
So
like that's the only place that it's appropriate.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh. It's like, guys, it's like, okay. I think it's just good, especially when it's coming from the pulpit. When it's coming from your leaders and saying, it's gotta start there. Like, this is needed. This is what we need. This is what some of the men are going through in our church. I mean, some of the women. I mean, target the audience as best as you need to, especially for what's going on within the area around your local church as well too. But yeah, it's. I think if it's coming from your leaders, it's definitely important. And then when your leaders show up to it and are vulnerable with you, it is not as, there's not like this, Josh and I have talked about this before, this like man of God complex where like people are untouchable and I can't go up to this guy or else I'm going to get vaporized or just torched,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So... I just think it's very important when your leaders are up there saying stuff, and then also are participating and are walking the walk, and not just saying stuff and then ducking out because I got better things to do. It's like, no, you don't. Yeah, you either a shepherd or you just a two-face at this point. But
sure, yeah. No, that's absolutely right. And that's something like I have really made a concerted, is that right? Concerted effort. I heard somebody say one time that phrase isn't right. Concerted effort. I don't know.
Okay.
I have made a diligent effort, right? Not to be the guy that skips out, right? And one of the ways that I try to pastor, and I have seen fruit from it is being the guy that is available, right? Now, obviously, that's a greater that's a big conversation in terms of making sure you don't burn out and you're not, putting ministry above family and things like that. But in a general sense, in a general ministry philosophy sense, right? I don't want to be the guy that doesn't show up to stuff. I want to be the guy that is at those events, that is in people's homes, that is at the potluck, that is at the Bible studies, that is at the guys' night, right? I mean, it's easy with the guys' night just because I'm the one that's running it, right? But if you want that relational quality with your people, you have to be there, right? And Jack, like what you said is so true, and that it's got to start from the pulpit. Like your leaders, if you want this culture in your church, it has to be from the leaders, right? And one of the ways that I have been very encouraged in my local church, especially like when it comes to counseling and stuff like that, is one of the greatest compliments that I can receive. One of the greatest encouragements that I can receive is when somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, I felt comfortable coming up and asking you about this or talking to you about this because of the things that you say you struggle with." Right? And those are real conversations, right? And it reminds me how important it is for us, especially those that are in church leadership, to remain humble, to remain vulnerable, and to remain transparent about who we are. Right. And you're exactly right. To not get this kind of man of God complex, or not allow that complex to develop, because with a lot of, and this is something that I've found, Jack, with a lot of churchgoers, and it might just be because of how they were raised, it might be their church background experience. A lot of churchgoers will default to placing you on that pedestal.
Yeah.
And it's something that I actively try to fight against, just because, one, I know what's going to happen if I start viewing myself like that. Nothing good. And two, I don't want there to be a relational separation between me and my people because they view me as somehow higher than them or somehow untouchable because of, the calling that God has called me to, right? And I think that's a battle that every leader has to fight and should fight in their local church, because, man, you and I have both seen what happens when that's not fought against, when that man of God complex is encouraged and accepted, right?
Yep. Yes, sir. When that man of God complex isn't fought against, like, you're going to get drisky business. Like, you're going to have that happen. Like, there's no doubt about it. You're going to have this Mark Driscoll effect. And but yet again, too, that's the story of most of the American evangelical church within the 21st century as well, too, at this point. Like, we struggle with this because we're always waxing and waning because we want these savior types to come and rescue us from stuff. Yeah. And then, this goes back to even Lord's Day. So a guy named Chris just graduated from the seminary that I went to as well, too, for a brief moment in time. He got his MDiv, and he was going through stuff as well, too. And we're going through kind of 1 Samuel. We're going through kind of David's life and just how the gospel is shown through the life of David to these different circumstances. And it's just so many times that, although David doesn't want to become Saul, he becomes Saul. He takes on the exact same characteristics as Saul does. people prop him up. People start looking to him as this, golden boy and golden king and all this other stuff. But it was pretty interesting. We went through 1 Samuel 22, where it talks about how David's like on the run. He's making stupid mistakes. Like he's lying to everybody. He's lying to priests. He's doing all this stuff. And then this group of like outcasts, this is what the text says, outcasts, people who are in debt, like kind of like thrown aside from society, like rally around David. And those are the guys that become like his elite. Right? And we could take that story and we could say, oh, well, you just need to build this community, like make yourself charismatic and build this community. Yes, you could be like David. Oh gosh. I have stories about how that could go wrong too. Sure. Yeah. I mean, but yet again, like if you could not seek that out and people could look at you and then people could start trying to revere you. Yeah. And there's a point where you kind of have to say like, I need to put myself in check here. Yeah. And just be like, I am just as much a member of the church, even though I may be in a leadership position or whatnot. You also need to have this humbleness and this relational dynamic to you that shows that I am not above you in this sense of like, I am not holier than thou. I don't have some sort of spiritual power that's greater than you. Has God called me to lead you and to be there for you? Absolutely. But it does not mean that I can use that as an advantage to take advantage of you and then also take advantage of other people. And I think that we can do that so often to where we're putting ourselves in the place of the king versus you need to let Jesus do the work and just kind of step aside.
Yeah, no, that's 100% right, man. Yeah, that it really is. And that's something that whenever I'm counseling folks, that's something that I try to tell them is like, just because I'm on this side of the table and you're on that side of the table in this scenario doesn't mean that tomorrow, right, the relationship is reversed, right? Because we both have the Holy Spirit within us. We both have the Word of God as our authority, right? And we're both each other's accountability, right? Now, like some of us might have different experience or more experience in certain things, right? But that's what it means to be a body together, right? That's why we have all these different people, this motley crew of folks coming together to make the church. And some people are ears, and some people are hands, and some people are feet, some people are eyes, right? And it's this beautiful picture that when everything comes together and people are vulnerable with each other, right? And you don't have this thing where, the hands have got this God complex, dude. And like, they think that they're everything in a bag of chips, and the eyes, don't even get me going on the eyes. You know what I'm saying? When you don't have that, everything runs the way that it should. And the people are blessed and God is glorified, right? And when I see that, and I see that in discipleship ministries to kind of bring it full circle. Like when I see, like Trenton described in his message to us, like he sees the relationships forming between the younger guys and the older guys. They're seeing a group of people, a group of men, talk to each other and have relationships with one another that wouldn't normally, and knowing that the Lord used that event and used your work, right, and your desire to make that happen, that the Lord honored that and the Lord blessed that, man, like, there's nothing better. It's not. Like that is the best. It's better than mead. Way better than kombucha. I can tell you that for sure. Right? It's so cool. And yeah, it happens just like when you're saying, Jack. It happens when we remain humble and we have that desire for community, right? And man, the church is blessed when it happens, and that's exciting. That's exciting. It gets me excited, and it gets me fired up, and it gives me motivation to keep doing those things. Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Well, I don't know about you, but it's late, and I'm tired, and it's hot here. And,
yeah.
I think Big Eva has sung.
I think so, sir.
Yeah. Well, why don't you get us out of here, my man?
Yeah. In that case, we here at the Reformatory you can continue to join us in this conversation that we've just had about spurring people on to righteousness through different discipleship groups, like men's ministry, like women's ministry. You can continue that conversation on the sociables, if you will. You can go on the Metaverse, the Facebook, and find us. You can go on the Instagram, if you will. Goes well with chocolate and marshmallow. And you can go on the sociable, formerly known as Twitter, or X, as we like to call it, and follow us all at those tags. Follow us all at those tags at Reformatory Pod. Josh, you can tell the lovely people how they might support us in different endeavors, if you will, besides the sociables.
Absolutely. So you can head on over to YouTube. We have YouTube now, right? If you want the experience of not only listening, but watching this podcast. I don't know why you'd want that, but
seeing these mugs in 4K.
Dude. 4K resolution in all its glory, right? You can head on over to YouTube, look for the Reformatory Podcast, subscribe, click the bell, like, comment, subscribe, whatever the kids say these days. We'd appreciate that. That'd be pretty cool. You can rate and review the podcast. We really do appreciate that. If you're on Apple, it helps get the podcast out to more people. If you're on Apple, we'd really appreciate you just scrolling down, giving us 5 stars. That'd be really, really cool. Last but not least, you can head on over to Patreon, and for a $5 holla, $5 a month, that's it. You get a bunch of exclusive content. You get a couple bonus episodes every week. You get some video content. You get cool photos that we'll throw up right up there. Some discussion stuff, like just stuff that's exclusive to our patrons. So if you want to do that, become a Patreon supporter. Our pledge to you is that your name shall be hallowed.
Hallowed, sir. Hallowed.
Hallowed through the halls of this podcast. That is exactly right. We would really, really appreciate that. If you guys like episodes like this, where it's more conversational, where Jack and I are just kind of riffing, I think a lot of good stuff kind of comes from that. We have topics that we can go through, but I enjoy these types of conversations where we go where the Spirit leads, as it were. And if you enjoy that too, if you enjoyed the discussion and kind of the more raw, the more natural discussion that this episode was, let us know. We'd like to maybe do some more of these kind of eps where it's not quite a riff ep. Like we still had some structure, but like it's you get more. I would say you get more natural conversation. But let us know either way. We really appreciate all you guys listening. We thank you. We love you. And we will catch you on the next step of the Reformatory.